Good afternoon. We'll start the sheep show. 1 o'clock. Welcome to the Canyon County Fair Market Livestock Sheep Show. Professionally, she owns Novel Designs and Ag Marketing. Professionally, Steve owns Novel Designs, an ag marketing and graphic design company doing websites, social media, signage, and advertising. She also runs the ChampionDrive.com website, which is an online hub for the show lamb industry, and owns and operates branded show gear and embroidery, screen print, and promo. Ava Kingsbury, JC.
Well, thank you for having me out here. I've not judged in Idaho. I've judged a lot on the West Coast, and it's nice to be out here and definitely get to see some new scenery. And like I was talking with Devin and everyone, it's nice to be able to get out here and see livestock kind of from different parts of the country. And I'm excited to go through everything the next 2 days with you. I think a good place to start is the one we're going to land on, one to feed, a nice place to start. The one that most logically follows for me is the blue one in second. I think this sheep has a lot of merit, a lot of value. I like this one in terms of its body shape and how it handles skills. Just needs a little bit more time on feed, just like most of these in this class, but one that logically follows in second for me. The 1 and 3 is kind of the problem sheep for me. I wish this sheep was a little bit rounder ribbed, a little bit smoother out of his hip and not quite as steep there, and just much like our class winner, a little bit better on its pasterns. But that's a sheep with a lot of product and good design, and for me, he logically needs to go 3. 4 and 5 are interesting for me. I used to raise some white ones, and I know how hard it is to make these things good-bodied, and these two have some pieces, and for being Dorsets that are a little bit on the skinnier side and maybe not quite at their final destination yet, I think these sheep have a lot of merit. This 1 and 4th is definitely our shaggy-legged, big-footed one, and I think if we could get his head pushed back in him and his flank or his neck pushed back in him and his flank dropped into him, this guy has a lot of pieces. For me today, he's just too harsh flanked in relation from chine to chest and a little bit flatter. But that's one I definitely wouldn't give up on. He does a lot of things right that some Dorsets can't. Really nice one to land 4th. The 1 and 5th is a sheep that I think as we go on and keep feeding and keep showing this one, he's going to do nothing but get better. For me, he gets a little bit too lazy backed and sway backed. He's a little bit too coarse about that shoulder and needs just a little bit more lower crotch for me. But one that when we prop this one up on the side, he's got a lot of the right pieces. If we can get those things to keep coming, which normally change with feed and practice, we can typically, I think we can move this one up quite a bit higher. Rounding out the class, we've got some kids that are out here doing a really nice job. Maybe just need a little bit more better build, a little bit better, more pin to them, a little bit better.
We'll go ahead and move on to our regular market divisions. First up is going to be the Suffolk class. In classes where they are the only class for their breed division, class winner will also be the breed champion. Entering the ring now is Suffolk Class 1. We have Riley Squibb, Valley View FFA, Rachel Pollock, Homedale FFA, Peyton Andrelevich, Valley View 4-H, and Emma Cooper, Valley View 4-H.
Well, this is going to be your champion in reserve Suffolk out of this class, and I think the logical place to start is the young lady in the blue shirt. This one is kind of the one when we sort them on structure when they move in immediately is the one that kind of says I'm the one that needs to go first here. I wish this one when we get this one stuck on the side could go and drive a little bit more, but when you get your hands on this one's easy.
Sponsor this year, and we really appreciate Fisher Club Lambs and Tiwak Club Lambs for this year, and we really appreciate Fisher Club Lambs and Tiwak Club Lambs for adding sponsor this year, and we really appreciate Fisher Club Lambs and Tiwak Club Lambs from Brainerd, Bad Company.
this lady doing? And because at all points, I've had the sheep that was in fifth as high as first. I've had them kind of all mixed around, and there's just a ton of give and take here. And if you want to argue with me on it, I'll hear it all day long, because I get it. There's not a perfect one out here. There's a lot of sheep that do a lot of really good things, but there's just some give and takes. So it's got to come down to personal priority. Doing a nice job with a real hard one to show. The one in second is one that kind of grew on me. Didn't catch my eye quite as quick when it first came out of the gate, but kind of follows the same logic as the one I started with. This one doesn't do a lot wrong. It's probably the freshest one in this class, more elevation. But in terms of being just a real good kind of sheep that you can take back, I know it's a market show, but it's a UM. That's a ewe that's going to go back and do a lot of good for a lot of generations. One that we just need to pretty up and kind of freak out through its front 1/3 to make it go any higher. Problem sheep for me is definitely the one in third. There's times that this is the one that I told myself if my kids were feeding one, I'd want to feed this one. Simply put, this one just doesn't handle fresh enough for me, and the longer this one's on the stand, you can see how he's washed out over that loin edge, and he doesn't meet your hand with the texture that we need to be a class-winning show lamb for me. But this sheep has a lot of pieces, and on the move, I like this one a bunch. I think if we can fix him on his pasterns a little bit, get that one freshened up, keep pounding on him on feed, and get him freshened up over that loin edge, I think this one's your class winner all day long if we can do those things. All things that should translate with more time and more feed. 1 and 4th is one for me. I love the length of neck on this one. I like the levelness of spine. However, this one's just a little bit too stiff neck for me, and a little bit too typewriter walking when we get on the move, and just not quite good enough out of its pins. But one that offers a great deal of exceptional qualities. Like I said, I love this one in terms of its levelness of spine and its cage, its big back. We just need to free this one up and make it a little bit better off both ends coming and going to move up any higher. The 1 and 5th, when we started talking this class, I told you I had this one as high as first. To me, this one is really close in some areas. If we can make this one handle better in terms of treadmilling or running, or just maybe just in terms of nutrition, if he could handle better, I could probably justify using him. But when this one, you'll see when this one gets out on the move, he just gets a little bit, he wants to throw his neck out, a little bit stiffer spine and not as free moving, which translates to being a little bit stiffer off of that, straighter off of those back two. But a really nice sheep that, like I said, could have gone anywhere from 1st through 5th. We've rounded out the class with a young man that's doing a really good job, just kind of ran into some hammers in this class. Let's put our hands together.
Congratulations to first in that class, Ava Shaw, Cowpokes 4-H, and second in class, Preston Gentry, Dry Lake Livestock. Please stick around and come back for the runoff here right after the next class. Entering the ring now is Hampshire Class 2. We have Swayze Kelly, Caveman Critters, Sophia Badia, Middleton FFA, Jade Wynn, Notice FFA, Amelia Florum, Valley View 4-H, Eden Cuther, Cuna FFA, and Waverly Millard, Canyon County Fair Junior Livestock Program.
the one I'm going to start with kind of walks in the ring and just kind of screams, "Here I am." And it never at any point was this one not going to be your class winner. I thought this one kind of was the striking, commanding one. As soon as he hit the ring, there's a lot of things about him that are real, real good. He's the best. He's real good touching. He's the best skinned one we've seen. We like that he stands on a big set of feet and legs, which isn't a huge factor for me, but it sure does one that I would definitely like to see this one in about 30 pounds or so, and just kind of see if his chest floor and his front end stays the same and he just continues to mass up. This will be a real fun one to feed on, and I think definitely where we need to go for second. The one in third is Big Big Rack. That's got a big square rack that meets your hands really, really fresh. It's just a smaller outline sheep, and you can see that through its front one third. We just need to make that one a little bit cooler to go up with those ones ahead of it. But in terms of product and in terms of touch, this one's the best one we've seen all day in terms of that. As we round out the class, we've got 3 that I think kind of fit together well. They need to be a little bit better through their spine, a little bit better out of their hip. Just some differences there. Put your hands together for these kids doing a nice job.
Congratulations to first in class, Waverly Millard, Canyon County Fair Junior Livestock Program, and second class, Swayze Kelly, Caveman Critters. Please return immediately to the ring for the Hampshire runoff. Entering the ring now is Ava Shaw, Cowpokes 4-H, Preston Gentry, Dry Lake Livestock, Waverly Millard, Canyon County Fair Junior Livestock Program, and Swayze Kelly, Caveman Critters. This is your Hampshire breed runoff.
In mind. Gets a little closer for reserve. For me, I just keep kind of going back to either the second in that heavy class or the class winner from our light one, obviously. For me, the class winner from our lightweight class just doesn't do a lot wrong. And I don't know if it's got the added bells and whistles as the one that we chose as our champion hamp, but it's got a lot of good things that it does well. And like we talked about, that one's maybe a little bit harder showing, but when this one gets propped up, this one kind of follows my champion in terms of that look from the side and just being balanced and good to look at. That one will be your reserve.
Congratulations to our champion Hampshire Market Lamb, Waverly Millard, Canyon County Fair Junior Livestock Program, and reserve champion Hampshire Lamb, Ava Shaw, Cowpokes 4-H. Entering the ring now will be our first class of natural market lambs. We have Keegan Biddick, Valley View FFA, Natalia Jamet, Parma FFA, Caitlin Wolf, Snake River Livestock, Evelina Costello, Homedale FFA, Bristol Barron, Ridgeview FFA, Carson Montenegro, Saddle Tramps 4-H, Ava Shaw, Cowpokes 4-H, Emma Barton, Bad Company, and Dominic Morales, Snake River Livestock.
Much like our last one, this one needs to show a little bit better for me to get out here. Much like our last one, this one needs to show a little bit better. The one in third is a sheep that handles really, really good, and quite honestly, that's why he's there for me. That one's fresh and handles good. As you can see, this one needs to be better out of its hip. We need to change the neck set on that one. But in terms of handle and freshness, he's done a really good job nutritionally on this one. The one in four, as you can get that one to bust apart a little bit and get a little bit more gas in the tank. But I think in terms of just levelness of spine and being able to get out and go, this one needs to be fourth. The one in fifth, I like a lot of things about it. If we could change the hip in that one, I think get that one to bust apart a little bit and get a little bit more gas in the tank. But I think in terms of just levelness of spine and being able to get out and go, this one needs to be fourth. The one in fifth, I like a lot of things about it. If we could change the hip in that one, I think it's a whole different class. But for me, you can see.
Take a moment here to remind you that if you need to grab an animal release slip for any breeding animals that you want to leave Saturday morning or extra market lambs you're not selling, you can get those from us at the table. We also have no sale forms available for any of you with 2 market lambs. Now entering the ring is Class 7, Natural Class 2. We have Kennedy Offeld, Farm to Table, Eleanor Detweiler, Meridian FFA, Lila Romero Erlinson, J.C. Riders, Indy White, Bad Company, Clara Hassard, Bad Company, and Bentley Anderson, Valley View FFA.
This one gets set up right here. This one is definitely the no-brainer to start with. This one's not perfect by any means. When we get this one in motion from the side, wants to get a little bit lower front end and duck that front end down. But I think propped, you can't beat this one in this scenario. He's carrying a little bit extra fat for me, which isn't a sort. That's something we can easily fix. At the end of the day, this one's the best one, and he starts. The one in second is one that if we could freshen this one up in terms of its presentation and its hide, there's a lot of good pieces here. And ultimately what separates second and third for me is just general width and rib shape and just being popped apart and a little bit stouter at the ground. Freshen this one up, get this one presented maybe just a little bit fresher in terms of its hide to get it so it can handle more like the sheep ahead of him, and I think it becomes considerably closer, but a really nice one in second that does a lot of things right. Young lady in third, she reminds me a lot of my little girl at home. I've got a little girl that's about your size, and we fight every single night trying to get those sheep to not get away from us because it's tough when you're little, and she does a really good job, and that's not why she's in third, but I wanted her to be commended for not giving up, and that a lot of kids get discouraged, and I think you did a really nice job there. Past that, when we start evaluating the sheep, this is definitely the one that needs to go third. I like its extension. I like how it is through its chest floor. Ultimately, for me, this one needs to be better out of its hip, and you can see that as it's standing right there. But nice job and a good place to go third. The 1 and 4th is one that I like in terms of its just overall length and extension and being big outline. When you see this one propped up right here, we've got to fix that down its top line and over its loin edge. I think that's something that, though, that's easily fixed with feed. If we keep pounding on this one, I think that one will continue to get better. That's courage, and I think you did a really nice job there. Past that, when we start evaluating the sheep, this is definitely the one that needs to go third. I like
for the natural runoff, which will be immediately after Class 8. Now entering the ring is our final class of natural market lambs, Class 8. We have Brooke Garner, Ridgeview FFA, Ayla Brainerd, Bad Company, Ellie Klaus, Farm to Table, Emma Cooper, Valley View 4-H, and Riley Davis, CUNA FFA.
Another nice place to start here. I'm going to use the one that's the biggest outline, the most attractive and striking from the side. And when this one gets set, this one's real close to being real good. I question a little bit if this one is just ultimately popped apart enough, especially when you watch this one come and go. Is he shallow enough from chine to chest in relation to his flank? But I think that's being awfully picky on one that kind of commands the ring in terms of look and presence and freshness. A real good place to start. Excited to see this one back. The one in second, I kind of struggled to get a good look at it, but that's part of it. And that's not why you land in second. I feel like I gave her plenty of time to get that one set, and I feel like I'm confident in how that one's built. And when this one does get set, it separates second and third for me in terms of chine to chest and just how that neck comes out. And you can see the difference right here. The one in third, that one's just a little bit stiffer neck. Its neck wants to come out of the front side of its blade a little bit more. And so for me, that's where the decision comes between second and third. The one in third, at times this one gives you a real nice look and handles good, but it just ultimately comes to neck set for me. That one's got to be better in terms of how that one presents its neck to be able to get up any higher. 4 and 5 was close for me. I decided to go with the one that I thought had a little bit more product and is a little bit more balanced in terms of just overall, or that is just a little bit more pulled apart. For me, this one's just better in terms of his flank and his general build. When we study that 1 and 5th, 1 and 5th needs a little bit more flank, a little bit more power down its top to move any higher. Put your hands together for a nice class.
Congratulations to Ellie Klaus, Farm to Table, and Brooke Gardner, Ridgeview FFA. Please come back around for the natural runoff, which is going to happen right now. Entering the ring is our natural runoff. We have Ava Shaw, Cowpokes 4-H, Bristol Barron, Ridgeview FFA, Kennedy Offeld, Farm to Table, Eleanor Detweiler, Meridian FFA, Ellie Klaus, Farm to Table, and Brooke Garner, Ridgeview FFA. Again, thank you to Fisher Club Lambs and T-Walt Club Lambs for sponsoring the additional prizes for our breed division champions today.
Put your hands for these kids that are out here in your natural color runoff. I don't have much of a poker face, so I think it's pretty obvious. For me, it's between the two from your class winners from the last two classes, and honestly, I think this is a class that's pretty representative of where the industry's at. If I had my 5 best friends out here, I bet you 2 of us would land on one, 2 of us would land on the other, and the other one would end up being the tiebreaker, and we'd probably discuss it over a round of golf for quite a while, and I think there's a lot of talking points here, and I think the thing to remember is, like there's good sheep come in all shapes and sizes, and it's important to recognize those things. I'm going to kind of tear these two apart so you know where I'm at, but that's taking nothing away from 2 sheep that I think are really nice. The young lady out of the middle class, this sheep does a lot of things right. When this thing is propped up, I really like just its overall balance and symmetry. Is it carrying too much condition? Yes, but like I talked about, that's not a big thing for me. That I really gravitate to. I like it's big. He's big outlined. I love his profile. When you get to studying the sheep from chine to chest, is he shallower there than the one in front of him? No. Is he better in terms of his flank? No. But at the same point, he's big outlined. It's hard to make him big and make him balanced, and I think he's real close. For me, when I get behind this sheep, when he's coming and going, he's just not busted apart enough in terms of just his overall base width compared to me. But it gets really close, because when this one's on the stand, if you future this sheep out in a few more pounds, does his flank drop? Does he get a little bit smoother over that loin edge? And does his chest floor stay the same? To me, I think that one has some big pieces. Like I said, I think it's really close. I think it's kind of a coin flip, but the one that I keep coming back to at the end of the day that's just more busted apart and better cage, but your young lady out of the middle class, real tight decision for reserve. You'll be reserved.
Congratulations to our natural colored division champion, Kennedy Offeld, Farm to Table, and reserve champion goes to Ellie Klaus, Farm to Table. Now entering the ring is our first class of Blackface Crossbred market lambs. We have Leanne Kent, Bad Company, Gracie Wilhite, Lucky Spur Livestock, Claire Mraz, Middleton FFA, Ava Kingsbury, JC Riders, Maddox Worley, Bad Company, Kalina DeForest, Dirty Boots 4-H, Maddie Bartunik, CUNA FFA, Tylee Van Voris, Bad Company, and Liberty Simper, CUNA FFA.
Height the shoulder. This one gives up height the shoulder. This one gives up some in terms of just overall handle and freshness when you get your hands on that one. We need to get that one just more filled in over his loin edge. But I think in terms of just getting this one propped up and being the show lamb that you can gravitate to in this class, that's where we've got to go. The one in second, I want to change this one out of its hip, but in terms of being tall shouldered and I want to change this one out of its hip, but in terms of being tall shouldered and shallow chested, that just make him a little bit more show lamb looking a little bit more exotic, looking to move up any higher. A nice group of kids doing a good job. Put your hands together for them.
Congratulations to our class winner, Claire Mraz, Middleton FFA, and second class, Ava Kingsbury, JC Riders. Please stick around for the runoff after class 14. Now entering the ring is our second class of Blackface Sea Riders. Please stick around for the runoff after
challenging class here again that has some give and take. The one for me that I'm going to start with, I'll be the first to admit I don't like how this one gets out and goes. He's a little lame today, but I think propped up on the side, this is logically the place to start. I think this one is the show lamb looking one of them, and I think when we get them propped out like here, it makes sense to me as well. This one needs to handle a touch better, but he's more than acceptable enough in this scenario. Nice complete sheep to start the class. The one in second, if you wanted to tell me this one needs to be stouter at the ground, I'd absolutely agree, but I think at times when this one gets propped, this one's probably the closest in terms to balance of the one ahead of him. This one handles quite well, and I think it needs to be second from that standpoint. The one in three is kind of the polar opposite. This is kind of the Hampshire featured one, but when we study this one from the side in terms of just its overall balance, this one needs to be a little bit just cooler made and a little bit freer spine and freer moving. The one in four is definitely the long-sided, big, extended sheep. For me, this one's too pinched in his forerib. He needs a little bit more gas in the tank and needs to be fixed out of that spine. But we appreciate a lot of things about this sheep in terms of just its length of neck, its length of spine, and stoutness at the ground. A nice sheep to run into fourth that just needs a few things switched around in it. And as we round out the top five, this is a sheep that kind of grew on me, and the young lady did a really nice job getting this one stuck. I think if this one could handle just a touch better and kind of handle with that show lamb texture, and maybe just get him fixed out of that dock, and then I think I'd maybe be able to tie into him just a nickel higher. But a nice, complete, well-made sheep. And as we get down into the rest of the class, a lot of what separates the bottom from the top in a scenario like this is just their overall handle and muscle texture. Sheep that need to handle a little bit better, harder, and fresher for me to move up any higher.
Congratulations to our class winner, Ford Suizo, and our second class, Scott Wilhite. Please stick around for our runoff here after class 14. Next into the ring will be class 12, our third class of Blackface Cross Market Lambs. We have Kylie Smith, CUNA FFA, Katie Stewart, Meridian FFA, Javier Mendiola, Farm to Table, Addison Stanford, Parma FFA, Andrew Jones, Bad Company, Abby Rudolph, Middleton FFA, Katie Myers, Homedale FFA, Kimber Smith, CUNA FFA, and Keisha Osterhout, Nampa FFA.
One I think that needs to win pretty handily here is this good designed one, and this young lady does a nice job getting this one propped up. It's one that caught my eye as soon as it walked in the ring. I got my hands on him, he didn't disappoint, and we get him set up, and he doesn't disappoint either. Does he need to be a nickel fresher at times? Maybe, but I think that's being really, really critical on a really good designed one. I love this one in terms of its angularity, how it runs uphill, its showland presence in the ring, and just a really nice, good built one to start off with. The young man's in second challenges that one quite closely in terms of freshness and handle, and is maybe a little bit bigger backed and square loin than that one. But I think in terms of overall design, you can see as we get this one set up on the side, it wants to get a little better in their type and kind. They both need to be a little bit better over their loin and their type and kind. They both need to be a little bit better over their loin edge, a little bit better out through their hip, and just a little bit better at the ground. Ultimately, what sorts it for me is handle between fourth and fifth, but two nice ones to go ahead and be in the top five in that class. Much like we talked about before, muscle texture and handle kind of separate it for me. The sheep that I wanted to gravitate to was this young lady's right here in seventh, but for me, when that one gets out on the move, that one's just too high up in his spine. I kind of went back and handled that one, and I thought maybe it was a tail infection deal or something, but I think his spine's just deviated enough where he can't get out and go and be true enough on the move. If we fix that, that one can run a whole lot higher. Nice class. Put your hands together.
Congratulations to our class winner, Katie Stewart, Meridian FFA, and second class, Javier Mendiola, Farm to Table. Please stick around to join us for our Blackface Cross runoff after Class 14. Next into the ring is Class 13, Blackface Crossbreds. We have Madison Adams, Bad Company, Oneida Carson, Valley View 4-H, Cecilia Mraz, Middleton FFA, Eva Steele, Caveman Critters, Waverly Millard, Canyon County Fair Junior Livestock Program, Jax Kelly, Caveman Critters, Zaretha Steele, Caveman Critters, Aiden Colomb, Dirty Boots 4-H, and Brennan Williams, JC Riders.
think the top two in this class fall together pretty logically. The one I chose to start with, I think the top two in this class fall together pretty logically. The one I chose to start with is the one that I think is just the more thing and something that can be changed. And I think that throws his look off a little bit, but that's a sheep that does a lot of really good things right. Hard to be tall-shouldered and to be shallow at the same time, and that thing's got a ton of product with him. That's a good place to start. The one in second is one that closely follows him in terms of just having a little bit more of that look and bells and whistles to it, but needs to be more exotic from the side when you compare it to the one ahead of it. That one, it gives me the appearance that it's maybe carrying a little bit more condition, and that's not the case. That sheep handles quite well. He just needs to have a little bit more athletic look to him, be longer necked and taller shouldered to push that one ahead of him. The one in three is kind of the problem sheep for me. I like how shallow this one is from trying to chest, and I thought about putting him up into second, but at the end of the day, that's one that just needs a little bit more feed, a little bit more freshness, and you can see as we stand here, that one doesn't carry his top quite as true. I think we work on those things and freshen that one up, and I think it's a different conversation in this class. From there on down, there's a lot of give and take. For me, I keep going back to this one. He doesn't handle good enough for me, and that's kind of why he was down further the line, but he kept working his way up because at the end of the day, I think that one's still the better built of the ones that we have in this class. He ultimately needs to handle better to go up any higher, but I like the stoutness and the width that one has. In terms of skin and hide, that one's got some advantages as well. The one in fifth, same type of deal. We just need to have this one presented a nickel better, but I think in terms of just general build, when you get past the presentation side of it, young lady's doing a nice job, and the sheep is just a good built sheep with some positives. Freshen that one up in terms of its presentation, and I think we can move that one up maybe a spot or two. As we round out the class, same type of deal. We need to get these sheep just a little bit better touching, a little bit more freaked out in terms of their show lamb pieces and presence, but kids that are doing a really nice job with good sheep. Put your hands together for them.
Congratulations to our class winner, Waverly Millard, Canyon County Fair Junior Livestock Program, and second in class, Madison Adams, Bad Company. Please stick close for our runoff, which will be after the next class. Now entering the ring is our final class of Blackface Cross Market Lambs, Class 14. We have Oakley Heathaker, Saddle Tramps 4-H, Rory Husted, Melba FFA, Rosa Mendiola, Farm to Table, Adalyn Schwartz, Caveman Critters, Sawyer Osterhout, Farm to Table, Morgan Holland, CUNA FFA, Braden Smith, CUNA FFA, Kylie Florum, Valley View 4-H, Anna Jones, Bad Company, and Austin Rush, Critters of Gold. Gold.
This one I like quite a great deal here to start off the class. And this sheep doesn't really have my kind that I've had all day in terms of his neck set and extension and length of neck. I think that doesn't take away from this sheep. He does a lot of things well. This is the stout one, the furry one at the ground, the one that's pulled apart, the one that's good cage, and the one that's got a ton of product in it. It wasn't all that long ago that those were the type of sheep that we were all trying to make, and I think they still need to be commended for that. Just because it's not my type and kind doesn't mean he's still not the second best one. So he goes second for me all day long. Young man here in third is doing a really nice job with one. For me, it ultimately comes down just in terms of his pasterns. You can see that one needs to be better on his feet and legs, and he needs to be a little bit more athletic in terms of his shape and his creasiness to match those ones ahead of him. But past that, that's a sheep that if I raised that sheep and I sold it to a county fair, I'd have a really happy customer, and the young man's doing a really nice job. If we can get just a nickel more shape into that one and fix his feet, that one can run with a lot of them out here. Good job. This sheep is kind of a tricky one for me. I had this one high up as third, and then sometimes a little bit lower. But when this one gets propped and his spine is right, I really like this one. If you study him, this one is shallow from chine to chest and really wedges the right way. You can freshen that one up in terms of just his handle and his presentation. I think that makes him look a little bit better. But the young lady's doing a really nice job on a sheep that I think when you really start studying that one, he does a lot of things right. I'd be excited to feed that one as well if that one was in my barn. Young lady here in fifth, this is a sheep that I think is just a good spine, good made sheep. You can see this one needs a little bit more gas in the tank in terms of product and lower leg to go any higher, but one that from a design standpoint does a lot of things right. I see that one's a ewe lamb as well. From a breeding standpoint, that one's got a lot of value because we can breed that one to a stout hampy buck and make them a little bit hampier featured, and she's real good design, so I think she's got a lot of value from that standpoint. Young lady's doing a nice job. As we round up the class, we've got sheep that need to be a little bit better out of their hip and hind leg, a little bit better in terms of their touch, but kids that are doing a really nice job. Put your hands together for them.
Congratulations to our class winner, Rosa Mendiola, farm to table, and second class Sawyer Osterhout, farm to table. Please come right back around. We're going to go immediately into our Blackface cross runoff. For the runoff, we need Claire Mraz, Middleton FFA, Ava Kingsbury, JC Riders, Ford Schwezo, CUNA FFA, Scott Wilhite, Lucky Spur Livestock, Katie Stewart, Meridian FFA, Javier Mendiola, Farm to Table, Waverly Millard, Canyon County Fair, Junior Livestock Program, Maddie Adams, Bad Company, Rosa Mendiola, Farm to Table, and Sawyer Osterhout, Farm to Table.
Put your hands together for the kids in this Crossbred drive. I always worry when I judge shows if I've been too critical, if people walk away and say, man, that lady was negative. And I always try and kind of tell you what I see so you can kind of know where you're at when you go back to the pens, because there's nothing more frustrating than going back and you don't know what to change or you don't understand why you got beat. So my compliments off to you guys. It's been a really good set of sheep in this Crossbred division. I've been ultra critical on some of them, not just in the crosses, but throughout the day, just so you know where I'm at. And I'm not a big hype in rainbows and unicorns type person, but I also am a person that like to kind of call it like it is. So I hope that you can kind of understand where I'm coming from on stuff. I'm going to describe 3 sheep to you that are my favorites in the cross drive and in no particular order. The first one is this young lady's from the middle class here. I like this sheep in terms of how it runs uphill and its angularity. I wish that sheep was just a nickel further along, because the next two we're going to talk about are a little bit further along. So we've got to prospect this one out just a nickel. I love this one's design. I wish I could fix its lower shoulder just a little bit. I wish that I could get his neck set just a little bit better. But there's a lot of things about that sheep. I question if he's truly yanked apart enough and if he truly has enough muscle to go with these other 2 that we're going to talk about next. But that's a sheep that I think is very, very good. And I think if you wanted to go ahead and run with that one, you wouldn't hear any complaints from me all day long. But my questions on him are, does he have enough gas in the tank? I wish that sheep was just a nickel further along, because the next two we're going to talk about are a little bit further along. So we've got to prospect this one out just a nickel. You could maybe get his loin edge to not sit down in him quite as much, and I wish that he was maybe a little bit creasier and just a little bit more shapely in terms of, he has a lot of muscle, but I wish we could crease it just a little bit more. In terms of chine to chest, I think that one's more than acceptable, and I think better than the one that's standing right in front of it. I wish that this one was a little bit smoother over its brisket and breastplate there, but a very nice sheep to definitely be in the hunt. The young lady out of the last class, that one is probably my flavor in terms of just having the most positives with the fewest amount of negatives. It didn't take me real long to know that one's going to be your champion cross. Like I said, I'm being overly critical on these other 2 I talked about, but I wanted you to know where I'm at. It's a coin flip for me, plate there, but a very nice sheep to definitely be in the hunt. The young lady out of the last class, that one is probably my flavor in terms of just having the most positives with the fewest amount of negatives. It didn't take me real long to know that one's going to be your champion cross.
We're moving into our final breed category, Whiteface Cross and all other breeds. For our first class, Class 16, we'll have Javier Mendiola, Farm to Table, Janelle Wolf, Snake River Livestock, Avery Fleming, Snake River Livestock, Kara Miguel, Snake River Livestock, Kylie Montenegro, Saddle Tramps 4-H Club, Cheyenne Rolag, Valley View 4-H, Gwen Shaw, Cowpokes 4-H, Jovi Brunmeyer, Gwen Shaw, Cowpokes 4-H, Jovi Brunmeyer, Homedale FFA, and Lexington Kaler, Lucky Spur Fleming, Snake River Livestock, Kara Miguel, Snake River Livestock, Kylie Montenegro, Saddle Tramps 4-H Club, Cheyenne Rolag, Valley View 4-H,
reputation for raising some really good white ones, and you guys should be really, really excited because this is probably the deepest class of white-faced influence sheep I've seen, whether it be as a judge, a parent, a spectator, whatever. And these are really nice. There's a lot of sheep in here that if I sold one and sent one of my kids to a county fair, I'd think, well, surely that one would win the whites. And there's sheep in here that are further down the line that are maybe the one that I'd want to feed for my kids. But at the end of the day, the one I keep coming back to is the young ladies we're going to start with. I think just overwhelming in terms of stoutness and width and cage. At times, I'd like to see that one maybe just a little bit truer out of its top line and how it maintains itself on the move. But propped up, this one has to win for me, and I think a really good place to start. The one in second is kind of the one that kind of worked its way up, and I think if you study that one from chine to chest, it's really good there. That sheep handles plenty good enough, and I think maybe just his skin kind of makes him look a little bit duller, so you need to study that one just a little bit harder. But a really nice complete sheep. To be ultra critical on that one, we've just got to get that one's neck set changed just a little bit so he's got a little bit more arrogance and can run with that one against them. I don't run into a lot of Dorpers in my part of the world, but I think this one is really, really nice. Oftentimes I don't really gravitate towards that type, but when you study this one, he's balanced. He just needs to handle better to move up any higher for me. He's the poorest handling of our top five, but a sheep that I think for what he is a really nice hair sheep and one that I think could run against quite a few Dorpers in the country. Nice one to be third. The sheep in fourth is the sheep that at times I thought, I wonder what that one would be like if we could feed on that one, for Louisville or something like that, because I think he has some interesting pieces. I think that one just needs to be kind of freshened up and fed on a little bit harder. These white ones are hard to make and hard to get him to balance, and I think if we feed on him a little harder, he maybe will balance a little better, and he's got some big pieces past that. The one that is in fifth is one that I think as a ewe lamb has a great deal of value. I think that's one to be in a market scenario. Just needs to be a little bit more creasy and ripped up and more athletic looking, a little bit taller at the point of the shoulder, but a really nice female. If this is a ewe show, I think it's a different conversation because that one carries a great deal of merit. As we move on down the class, like I said, this is a really good class. You won't find a class of specs like this anywhere else. Hats off to these guys doing a really good job. You just kind of ran into a buzzsaw of a class. Put your hands together. Good job.
Congratulations to our class winner, Jovi Brunmeyer, Homedale FFA, and second in class, Cheyenne Rolag, Valley View 4-H. Please stick around for the Whiteface Cross runoff, which will happen after Class 18. Now entering the ring is Class 17 of our Whiteface and all other breeds category. We have Jensen Williams, J.C. Riders, Mackenzie Nelson, Nampa FFA, Kennedy Offeld, Farm to Table, Peyton Andrelevich, Valley View 4-H, Oakley Heathaker, Saddle Tramps 4-H, Liam Klaus, Cuna FFA, Ethan Jamette, Lucky Spur Livestock, and Tage Osterhout, Nampa FFA. At this time, I'd like to remind you that if you're showing two market animals, please get no-sale forms. No-sale forms are due to the fair office within 1 hour after the market livestock show. If you do not fill out and return a no-sale form, a sale animal will be chosen for you. Please take care of this within 1 hour after the show. If you need early release slips, please grab those from the table as well.
Another good class in the Whiteface influences, and definitely some give and take. For me, this one sorts in terms of cage and in terms of hip. When we get this one out on the move, this one's truer out of its tailhead and truer on the move. The one in second just wants to roll off ever so slightly for me, and that's the difference there. I had these two back and forth until we put them on the move at the end, and I just prefer the hip and hind leg structure of the one we're going to go ahead and start with. The overall width and cage, a good one to start with. The one in second, like we said, that's the sheep that has some give and take. That's the better touching one. That's the better skinned one. That one, though, for me, just needs to be better out of that hip and hind leg and cooler out of that front end to be able to run with that one ahead of it. If you wanted to switch those two, they're real close. Nice set of sheep to start that class. Past that, this one in third logically falls there for me. He just needs to be a little bit better through that front one third, and you can see that as we're standing here. He's just not quite as exotic through that. He's not quite as good out of his hip, and just needs a little bit more pop to get up ahead of those two in front of him. Young lady here is doing a really nice job with this wide appearing one. He's one, again, needs to be better out of that pin and out of that tail head, but a sheep that handles well, and she's doing a nice job with him. I like his spine. I like how level he ties in there. Just a sheep that we've got to change out of that hip to get him a little bit higher in this class. The young man here to round out our top five does a nice job. This is one that just needs a little bit more lower leg and stifle to get him to balance up a little bit better. He's a little bit flatter in comparison to the ones ahead of him. And as we round out the class, kids doing a nice job that maybe just need a little bit more look and bells and whistles and a little bit more touch to move any higher. Nice class. Good job.
Congratulations to our class winner, Liam Klaus, CUNA FFA, and second class, Kennedy Offeld, Farm to Table. Please stick around for our runoff after the next class.
To the ones ahead of him. And as we round out the class,
while we're looking at this, Jared and Lauren Patterson, Hempton Livestock, and the Western Livestock Journal. Our reserve champion sponsors are Devin and Kylie Fisher, Fisher Club Lambs, and Jessica Heiser Memorial, Treasure Valley Pomona Grange #1, Adams Gardens and Nursery, Cynthia Brush Memorial, and Hummel Architects. Our blue ribbon sponsors are Wendy Rowland, Tim and Debbie Lober, Son of a Bee Livestock, Ryan and Stephanie Etter, Paul and Karen Aldridge, Mountain View Training and Show Center, Joseph and Susan Schooler, Larry and Margaret Roberts, Big Red Boars, Dale and Mary Reynolds, Haylett Farms, and Saddle Tramps 4-H. And friend of the fair is Randy and Louisa Cohn, Lawrence and Carol Grassel, and Busy Bugs 4-H Club. Thank you for your continued support of the Canyon County Fair. And a final reminder, if you still don't have a no-sale form, these are due to the fair office within 1 hour of the end of this show, if you would like to be able to choose which animal you sell. Thank you. And thank you again to our judge today, Steva Robinson. She'll be with us tonight for final drive and also tomorrow for breeding and showmanship.
design sorts this class, and we're going to start with the young lady here in the blue. I think this is just simply put the best constructed one in terms of just body shape and how this one can track and go. I like her stoutness at the ground and how she's pulled apart. This one it does need to handle better for me to really get into the conversation for being really, really good. But I think in terms of build, that one is really nice. And definitely in terms of a female, that's one that you can go back and breed a lot of ways. And is at no point in time was this one not going to be my class winner. From there, I kind of think it shakes out a little bit. The one that keeps growing on me is the young man here in second. I like how this one is built, and I think it follows my class winner in terms of its general assembly and organization. This one maybe just needs a little bit more power coming out from behind him, just a little bit more shape and ripped up, but one that's built nice and nicely assembled to go second. The 1 and 3 is kind of the opposite of that one. This one handles good, but as you can see, that one's spine wants to lay up in it. It's a little bit flatter, and young lady's doing a nice job, but we've got to get that one true out of his spine and just yanked apart to go any higher for me today. I think a lot of give and take as we round out the class here with the wide appearing ones. I opted to go with the one that I thought was maybe the best from chine to chest of these three, one that just needs to get a little bit more punch and drive up a little bit higher, but a sheep that in terms of white ones is built very nice and is a really nice complete sheep. From there, I think it separates a bunch just through their front 1/3 and in terms of how their flank and their balance lies in. The one that we're going to round the class out in just needs to be a little bit softer flanked and better balanced to move up ahead of the one in front of him. Put your hands together. Good class to round out the day.
Congratulations to our class winner, Kennedy Kildow, Homedale FFA, and second class, Preston Gentry, Dry Lake Livestock. Please report immediately back to the ring for our Whiteface, all other breeds runoff. I need that.
Let's give these kids a round of applause that are out here in our last drive of the day. Like I said, I hope that I wasn't overly too critical. I hope you could understand how I saw them. That's the way I like to do it. And you know, I want to make sure that I'm ultra positive because I think that this is a really good set of sheep, and it's a county that's one of the tougher ones I've seen. So hats off. All the kids have been really courteous all day. The shows run smoothly. You guys are really fortunate. This is a really great facility. A lot of places back home in Wisconsin, they'd be awfully jealous to not to see this and see what it could be. So hats off to your county. Thank you for having me, and most of all, hats off to the kids. Make sure you tell thank you to whoever brought you here and got you into showing livestock, and we'll talk more about that later tonight. But for me, let's get back to the sheep. I think there's one out here that just kind of grabbed my attention, and just in terms of being stout and good enough on the move, but absolutely awesome on the prop. This one I think handles more than acceptable well for me. The young lady out of your first class is going to be your champion. For me, the convert class will be your reserve.
Congratulations to our grand champion, Whiteface Cross All Other Breed, Jovi Brunmeyer, and our reserve champion in that category, Cheyenne Rolag, Valley View 4-H. Thank you all again for attending our sheep show. Great job to the participants again. We really appreciate Steve Robinson for being here with us all the way from Belmont, Wisconsin. And last reminder, if you need a no-sale form, you have 1 hour to grab these from us, fill them out, and return them to the fair office. Champion Drive will be tonight at 6 p.m. Again for attending our sheep show. Great job to the participants again. We really appreciate Steve Robinson for